Hi guys, how you doing? I hope you are all well. I just wanted to put this little video together on my thoughts on the DJI FPV system that I eventually caved in and bought. Apologies if I'm reading a little bit from the screen, but I've just got some notes in front of me because I don't want to be repeating myself and I don't want to miss anything out. So I'll try and keep it as short and sweet as possible. So anyway, you can see here in the background I've got my right wing drac from Chris Click in America, and I've obviously fitted the DJI system to the front of this, yeah, I'm really pleased with how the mount has turned out. It looks really well, and it's obviously worked pretty well as well at the weekend. So yeah, happy with that. You may notice that this luminous yellow camera in the front is still an analog FPV system that's in the plane and hasn't been removed. So the goggles came from Mike at Hobby RC last week. Thanks very much, Mike. You know, people like Chris and Mike, they work really hard to go the extra mile and, you know, support their customers and you know, give really good customer support and service. So support your local hobby shops, guys, where you can, and obviously don't try and buy everything from Banggood and Ali where possible, you know, and get those copies out of your flight pack, you know. So anyway, no surprise, the goggles turned up the next day, so thanks very much. And I just want to give my sort of I guess my thoughts on the system and you know, things that maybe I was surprised about and maybe things that I wasn't surprised about. So anyway, I'll tell you a little bit about my style of flying first. I fly like quite long range, maybe mid-range most people would call it, but I'm flying very low and I'm flying behind you know, trees and other obstacles. Control system at the minute, which is crossfire. So quite often I do find that, you know, I'll be flying in very low link quality, you know, down in like the 20s we're talking here, and everything's flashing up red on the vector and telling me, you know, you need to pull up and get that control link back again. But anyway, I'm able to fly around it. The crossfire system is pretty resilient, so it does work really well. But anyway, when I'm doing that, I obviously still need to see. So the analog FPV system that I'm using is rock solid. It's working really well, and it gives me, you know, real confidence to go out and do some of the the riskier gaps and low and fast flying that I really enjoy doing. So so yeah, do I think that the DJI system can you know, change any of that for me? Probably not on all my flying. So I think what you do find is that like other, you know, YouTubers and Facebookers have like a certain style of flying, and they are they're basically flying with equipment that works for them. And why wouldn't you? You know, we're all in a hobby where it's affordable for the most part. I know the DJI system is very expensive, but it's affordable for the most part to change things up and try new things. So it's obviously very easy to tweak your FPV system to how you like to fly, and you'd be mad not to. You know, you want it to be working really well. So there's certainly you know, a limit to what you would have to do to go out and fly very high up and be in real good RF situations compared to people like me who are flying, you know, at the end of their control link sometimes. So the I really need that sort of confidence inspiring FPV feed whenever I'm doing some of the flying that I like to do. So I've always been very reluctant to actually go out and buy the FPV system from DJI because it is very expensive. But I do find from time to time that I really like cruising around and I like doing a little bit of cloud surfing whenever the clouds are at 399 feet, you know. So the times like that, I guess, would be perfect for the DJI system. But anyway, let me go through the pros at first of the goggles themselves. So whenever I picked them up out of the box, I thought, you know, wow, these things are like, you know, obviously they're very well packed and all that kind of stuff, but they're just really good quality. You know, everything's like lovely anodized finish. You know, real nice like metal brackets. The Fat Sharks, I always find that whenever you pull that strap a little bit too hard, it sometimes slips out of the goggles. Had that happen loads of times, probably because of the Ethix mount or the Ethix strap that I was using. It wasn't very good. But anyway, the buttons, everything is really, really nice on the goggles. I don't like those like little like membrane type buttons that are on the Fat Sharks. All the sliders, everything has got like a real lovely tension to them. Nice like sockets and everything that go into it. You know, the SD card is very easy to get in and out. You know, the goggles have been designed to be pretty user friendly. The actual HD system itself is fantastic. You know, you've got live HD straight to your face. You know, you can be cloud surfing, you know, at 399 feet, remember? And it is just like live HD. It's like you're watching, you know, a YouTube video. It's amazing. And, you know, obviously it's cinema size because you've got that nice big image inside the goggles. Some tandem chasing in HD, or just generally cruising around and just taking in that scenery, and it's really, really, really good. And one of the things that happened, unfortunately, one of the guys crashed his Goblin, and it was probably about half a mile away or a quarter mile away. No flight controller, no GPS, none of that kind of stuff. So it was lost in pretty like long moorland, I guess. I threw the drac up into the air, and I think within about 3 minutes I found it. You could just see it sitting there in the grass, and to be honest with you, if this was an analog FPV system, I'm sorry, but you would not be able to pick it out as quickly as what I did, and also from the height that I done it as well. It was very much down below behind the you know, a bit of a hill or a bit of earth, if you like, so you couldn't be like straight there and very low to the ground, so I was up high looking down and spotted it really quickly. So that was pretty amazing. Really impressed me about the system. The what else have we got here? Oh yeah, the user interface, it's really good. So you got lots of settings on the goggle. You can change the power output of the VTX, you can change channels, everything like that as you're flying. So that's amazing. The playback on the DVR as well is really good. It's really easy to flick through and get to different parts of the videos. Much more user friendly than the Fat Shark DVR. I'm sorry if I keep comparing everything to the Fat Sharks, but that's what I owned before, and that's what quite a lot of people in the hobby own. So does it end there? Well, yeah, it kind of does. For me anyway. It's got a few cons. Obviously, when I look at the goggles, they look fantastic, and obviously the HD, the lenses, everything is really good. But the thing that I don't like about them is that they're very clunky on your head, and they're a bit heavy. So if you're like me and you're launching your big drac, you know, you do need to give it, you know, a bit of a throw, or you got to twist like whenever you're launching the thing into the air. Or if you've got like smaller wings, you've got to pick them up and move whenever you're chucking them. Now with the Fat Sharks, you stick them on the top of your head, and you could do a cartwheel and they would probably still stay there, you know. These will just, they fall off your face, they flop down to one side, they slide forward. Absolutely terrible. And I mean, You can try and tighten them up, but the trouble is you over tighten them, and then the bridge of your nose starts to feel uncomfortable when you're flying, or you know, just you find it a little bit harder to breathe out of your nose, which is obviously not what you want. But look, there are new goggles. I've changed the foam on them, you know, to obviously give them a better chance at you know, feeling good on my face. And I might actually have to change the strap as well, just to give it a go. The goggles are they're good for flying with your friends, but you don't want to be in the 50 megabits per second mode, because you will like bleed over their FPV feed. So that's a little bit of a, you know, just remember, if you've got a lot of friends that are flying analog, these will blow over their feed, and their analog feed can knock you out of the sky as well. It is just a 5.8 system at the end of the day, so I think that's pretty fair. But just remember, if you're flying, you know, with your friends, you need to like be very wary about what channel you're on, because I don't think that the channels really follow like normal race band or anything like that there. So just be mindful of it, because obviously knocking someone out of the sky that's flying a wing, it's just can end in disaster. It's really different for quadcopter guys. If someone has to fall out of the sky, so what? So anyway, the what else have we got? The main thing with them, you know, how do they look whenever you're flying, you know, behind obstacles and trying to hit those tree gaps like I like to do on some of my flights? Well, they're not very confidence inspiring, that's what I'm going to say. Where I was flying comfortably with the 1.3, I wasn't able to fly comfortably with the DJI system. So I'm talking about maybe rows of like 3 or 4 trees, just below the treetops, you'll start to get that image sort of like fuzzing out. It doesn't break up like analog, but it starts to fuzz out. I was obviously keeping an eye on the only bit of OSD that I had, that was the, you know, the megabits per second and the latency, and I could see that latency jumping up to like 80, 100. But on top of that, whenever it does this, it sometimes like skips the image, so it'll like momentarily freeze, but move slowly, and then suddenly the image will catch up. And if you're trying to fly proximity and you're banking at 100 mile an hour trying to go between, you know, some trees that are just wider than the plane, you're never going to feel comfortable doing that with the DJI system, not a chance. So just bear that in mind, again, if you fly like me. I wasn't surprised by that. This is kind of what I thought would happen. So like I was saying, some of my flying is nice cruising and enjoying it, and I think that's what the DJI system is really going to be here for. The issue with the clunkiness and the bulkiness of it, I actually gave away my Fat Sharks to a friend last week with the intention of him actually, you know, probably buying them. He has Orcas coming as well, so I said to him, look, if you don't want to buy the Fat Sharks, I'll take them back again. So he's sending them back, and I'm pretty glad about that, because the Fat Sharks are going to definitely be in my bag again. So is analog dead? It's certainly not dead for me, and probably a lot of people that fly like me as well. If you have like a really badly set up analog system, if you get digital, it's going to be a lot better out of the box. So I mean like 1.3, where you've got the antennas in a really bad place, and 2.4, or if you've got like a 5.8 system and you're trying to push beyond you know, where a really, really well tuned 1.3 system is going to be going, you're never going to do it. So the digital system is probably going to feel a lot better in those kind of situations, and except if you're racing, of course, because apparently the latency seems to be a little bit too high for that, and with a number of other issues. But if you need like complete faith in your analog system, guys like Mike Stevens, you know, flying out long range, doing you know, full speed a lot, you know, along the desert, it might not be the FPV system for you, not completely. I think there's obviously times whenever the FPV system is going to be great, and whenever the analog system is going to really do the job for you. So do I think one is better than the other? It's hard to say. I think yesterday I said like maybe 80% of the time I would use the digital FPV system, but I think I need to go back and fly more at the funny farm and see how I feel about it around there, and obviously make sure that I'm not going to be giving anyone any video problems too, and then just kind of figure out where I'm going to be at after that. But I think today, after sleeping on it, I think I'm more in it could be 50% of the time that I'm actually using the DJI system. So it's a big investment. I'm not going to sit here and, with like buyer's remorse or whatever you call it, and say, that's it, I'm throwing out all my analog. That's just not going to happen. I've got a really good analog system, and it is just incredible for doing some of the flying that I do. But having said that, this footage that I'm about to show you, it's all straight from the goggles, and that kind of footage straight to your eyes is amazing. So yeah, I would have a real good think about the type of flying that you do, and perhaps it might work for you really well, or it might be just something that you treat yourself to sometime, and just go out and enjoy those that cruising and cloud surfing. So thanks very much, guys. Bit more footage to come, and thanks for watching. Cheers for that.
I won't soothe your pain, I won't ease your strain. I seek you out, flay you alive. One more word and you won't survive. And I'm not scared of your stolen power. See right through you anyhow. I seek you out, flay you alive. One more word and you won't survive. And I'm not scared of your stolen power. See right through you anyhow. I see.
Oh.
I seek you out, flay you alive. One more word and you won't survive. And I'm not scared of your stolen power. See right through you anyhow.
oh.